on the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game.
Kudos to the fans.
We knew we could always count on those guys to show up and make it an unbelievable atmosphere.
Our fans are so passionate about our team.
He caught it. He caught that ball. That's a touchdown.
3 at the buzzer. Whether it be at the Jane or at PK Park or Autzen or MKA or wherever, boy, did they come strong.
You're a fan of the Ducks. I mean, you need to get involved with that deal.
Top of the arc, 3, 10! Hits one a ton toward the flag. God!
You can just see it in the way they cheer and the way that they get into the game.
Probably tells you how special Oregon is.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Now let's go live to the Country Financial Studio to talk Oregon Duck athletics.
What a weekend. Oregon football had its first scrimmage of the fall on Saturday. Oregon soccer with an electric, dominant performance yesterday with a 3-0 victory over Gonzaga. By the way, in front of a really good crowd, too, which was very cool. Happy Monday back here in our Country Financial Studio. This is Duck Insider presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. I'm Chris Clayton. Joey Mack is with us.
Chris Clayton,
well.
ladies and gentlemen. Chris Clayton. Wow.
And
well done.
the scrimmage for Oregon football on Saturday. It's very cool to be able to see them get back out on the field, kind of have a real game-like environment, and I would assume a lot of lessons learned for you as a spectator and for the team and coaching staff.
Well, no doubt. First of all, being in Autzen Stadium is always fun because it's been very unique over the last now year or so that Oregon has practiced at Autzen Stadium as much as they have because of the construction for the new indoor practice facility. Now the Ducks have a 70-yard field and a 50-yard field that they can utilize outside, kind of just outside the construction zone, but otherwise it was mostly in Autzen Stadium last year and in the Mashofsky Center. But now that the Ducks have that pair of temporary fields, we haven't been in Autzen as much. And I kind of looked around at everybody like, well, this is nice to be back.
Right.
Like, this is fun to be in Autzen Stadium again. And it is a big evaluation day. We'll hear from Coach Lanning in a moment. And 120 plays is nothing to sneeze at. That's a lot of live reps. And Coach Lanning said going into the scrimmage that this is where you can find out if you're a good tackling team and also if you can break some tackles. And I think that's, well, I'll just put it this way. He saw some of that at Autzen Stadium.
And these scrimmages are big because those are two things that we usually see the first couple weeks of the real season of coaches saying, well, I thought we were a good tackling team. It turns out we aren't because you don't really know until you can get something like a scrimmage. So it's pretty promising to hear that some of the takeaways, he felt like they were physical. He felt like, and you'll hear from Dan Lanning here in just a few minutes, but he said he feels like the defense has been so good attacking the ball. He said this is the best fall camp we've had attacking the ball. And so we know they have a talent defensively. It's good to hear that it's translating to the field too.
No doubt. And, so Scott Phillips, who's sitting over here, we were here in the studio on Saturday producing the Quack Minute, the practice report. And one of the things that Coach Lanning mentioned is that it's a give and take, right? When you have Ducks versus Ducks, the pessimistic way is like, well, that means we did something bad on the other side of the ball, right? But the truth is that give and take, I think, is really important. And Coach mentioned like ball security, need to protect the ball better at times, but also if you're a defense that he said, and I thought this meant a lot. This is what stuck out to me that you're going to hear from his long answers in his press conference. The best that the Ducks have been in his time attacking the ball defensively. Rushing the passer, it's a give and take, right? Maybe the defense attacking the ball, making a play, that says more about the defense than it does ball security for the offense. But that give and take is, I've heard Jerry say this so many times over the years now covering football, and I realize I'm about to just do my best Jerry Allen impression. But you're playing against yourselves. You don't know really if it's good, bad, otherwise. But the truth is, I think that just that aggressiveness, that's what this team will be looking for, And if I could, just for a minute. So Chris is going to host the show every Monday moving forward, right? I'm here because the team's practicing today. But Chris Clayton on the call for some Oregon soccer to start the season, and the Ducks
Thursday.
are 2-0.
Yeah.
Right? Chris had the ESPN Plus call.
At Portland State on Thursday.
That's a 3-0 Duck dub.
Yeah.
Okay?
They look good.
Well done, dude.
Well,
good
thank
job.
you. I guess it's a good luck charm because they kept it going, and they played Gonzaga yesterday,
right.
who's, in terms of Pacific Northwest college soccer, as good as anybody.
Yeah.
I mean, over the last couple decades. So that it's an exciting start for them.
2 wins.
I don't think I had anything to do with it, but I appreciate you thinking I did.
Well, it was fun to listen to you.
Well, thanks.
And also Oregon volleyball over the weekend. Green and yellow scrimmage. Talk about being back at Autzen, back at Matthew Knight Arena, back at Pape Field. It's that time of year. I'm done, though.
Real.
I did my part. You can play. Coach Lanning, that's what people actually care about.
Yeah, thanks for coming in. We appreciate your thoughts and giving our thoughts, but there's nobody better to recap the fall scrimmage than the head coach himself, Dan Lanning.
All right, overall, good scrimmage. The thing you're always hoping for as a coach in this moment is you want to test physicality, the ability to tackle and break tackles, but you also want to walk away healthy, and we were able to do that today. Some overall really good reps from both sides of the ball. Got to do a better job when it comes to ball security at times. Got to clean up some special teams play, make sure we're able to get the kicks that we need to be able to get. But overall, a solid performance. Got to go back and evaluate the film. I told our players there's really 2 things we're looking for when we grade a scrimmage. Are you accountable, and are you capable? Right? Do you do your job when you're asked to do your job, and are you capable of doing the job we ask you to do? If you're not, then you're going to get limited reps. If you do, then you'll continue to grow on this team. So those are the things we're going to evaluate as we watch the film.
Offensive line play, curious if you have early assessments of what you saw out there today.
No early assessments yet. I got to watch the film.
You said at media day that you asked your players to look at 365 days ago and where they were and where they've grown. Curious for this team, 365 days ago, that scrimmage where this team has grown since then.
Yeah, I mean, this morning we're watching clips of Noah Whittington, Bryce Betcher making plays in this scrimmage, Kenny Sadiq making plays in this exact same scrimmage, and then obviously those guys now are making plays right in the NFL. So there's some guys that weren't making plays last year that were making plays in the scrimmage this year. There's some guys that have made some really big strides, but again, we'll evaluate the film and see what it looks like. Overall, I was pleased with the energy throughout practice, but the film is got to be something we assess really hard.
I know you have to watch the film, but as far as your feelings coming out of a first scrimmage, can you compare it, like good, bad, and different to other first scrimmages? And then also the ball security, how much of that also was the defense making a good play and forcing turnovers versus guys just being sloppy?
There's always a combination of both. Tip balls that we have to be aggressive with. We had a tip ball interception today. Peyton Woodyard had one, but we had balls on the ground where it wasn't necessarily controlled by defense as much as it's controlled by offense and the way they protect the ball. But yeah, there's moments where we're attacking it really well. I think this is the best fall camp we've had as a defense as far as attacking the ball, which is good. Our offense needs to see that. As far as the feeling from this scrimmage to other comparison scrimmages, I don't have a widely different feeling from others. I'm always a pessimistic guy whenever it comes to what the performance looked like, because I want us to be the best version of us, and we're not the best version of us yet, but we're making strides.
Yeah, we got a chance to talk to Blue yesterday and learn a little bit about his journey from Oregon State to here, and I'm just curious, what he's done this fall to carve out a spot in that, in that linebacker room.
Yeah, just work every day. Come in here and take a step forward and get a little bit better and a little bit more. Early on, we do a lot on that side of the ball, so you got to learn a lot. And he's been a guy that's put in the time to learn a lot, and there's still a lot of room for improvement. But he's proven he can be a guy that can help us.
You've talked a lot about how this is very much a player-led team, one of the most player-led that you've had in your time here. Curious what characteristics of leadership you've seen from the players, especially in a scrimmage like you had today.
No, I mean, we finished off with some conditioning, and normally the conditioning speaks for itself. Like it happens in practice, but a lot of times on Saturdays we'll add some additional conditioning because guys have a recovery day tomorrow. At the end, the guys are asking for more, right? I think that's a great example of guys saying, man, we just went through an entire scrimmage. My body's telling me no. Right, but my mind is telling me yay, right? You know the song, right? That's what these guys are doing. They're pushing for more, right? It's the other way around, obviously, in the song, but you get the idea.
Coach Ham said that early in spring or in fall practice, you guys throw a ton of scheme at these players to kind of see what sticks and then pare it down as you realize what works. How valuable is a day like today in finding out what works?
Yeah, today is not necessarily that day. Today is let's call stuff that we know our guys can execute so we can figure out who's the guy that's best at blocking, who's the guy that's best at tackling, who's the guy best at breaking tackles. But now what we will do is take what we have and figure out what fits our players best and then find the tweaks that we can add and remove. With us being able to do a lot in the offseason, these guys are light years ahead of what it used to look like 4 years ago, 5 years ago when I first got here. So how much time you have, to take advantage of. Those guys have taken advantage of it. So there's not a lot that gets thrown in that's brand new. It's just a matter of, okay, can I get in the right play if we have a check on it? Can I get in the right play, with a certain tag that we might throw on a play on both sides of the ball? And then can I execute? So again, am I accountable and am I capable of doing that?
First, can you tell us how long the scrimmage was play-wise or time-wise? And then secondly, Dylan Raiola said that things were a little shaky for him in the spring, learning the system, but he felt like he learned a lot over the summer and felt better. Did you see growth from him today?
Yeah. And then I saw some moments that he can certainly get better. It's around 120 play scrimmage, maybe a little bit more or less based on special teams play as it plays out. But yeah, Dylan's gotten a lot better. He looks like a night and day different player from when he got here in the spring. That being said, there's moments already I know from today that I'm like, okay, this is something we got to improve, right? Something we have to attack, and that's the case for every single player on our team, right? Not just Dylan. Every single player has something that we can get better at, and if we execute at a higher level, we'll be performing really well.
You mentioned some maybe shortcomings on special teams. Can you expound on that a little bit? And was this an outlier day? Has it been clean and today was maybe different?
Yeah, just a small thing. We tested our guys today. We tried to kick a long field goal. We didn't make a long field goal. We had some poor kicks on kickoff that we have to be able to count on those guys to have great kicks on kickoff. Punt locations. We had some balls that were out of bounds. So in special teams, you get one play to be right. Right, and they have to be right. So they weren't all right today, and really it's no different than how you want to grade offense or defense, but they're just limited opportunities. You're talking about somewhere between 14 to 20% of the game. When we do it, it has to look a certain way, and I think that could level up.
How do you walk that line of trying to make things hard and intense on players in a scrimmage setting to try and see what they can handle, but also make sure that they're up to speed and the confidence is there?
Yeah, I think they generate the confidence by them doing their job, and when it happens, you have to celebrate it, right? And I think so often in coaching, a lot of times we point out the negative because that's the easy fix. But what you also have to do is point out when it's done right, and when it's done right, you have to celebrate it like crazy, and lean into those moments, right? Because that's going to give you an opportunity for a guy to reflect and say, okay, what can I still improve?
You talked about wanting to see, can guys tackle, can you break tackles? How do you balance that, keeping that physicality while also making sure that everybody stays healthy? Is there anything specific to make sure that you balance both of those?
In football, you got to play, right, a certain way. Now, to me, there's a limit on, okay, how much live tackling do I need in this scrimmage? We weren't entire live tackling the entire scrimmage today, but there has to be some of that occurs. And then there's a level of player that's played a certain number of snaps where there's an expectation of what that looks like. But you can't go out and tiptoe in football and say, okay, we're going to be healthy, because that's actually when guys are going to get hurt, is when you kind of try to say, oh, well, hey, keep yourself out of this pile. You just can't do that. You have to play football the way it's meant to be played. But we do as good a job as anybody of protecting our players. Our players do a great job protecting their teammates. We don't take cheap shots across the middle. We're not looking for highlight hits in practice, right? We're looking for guys that, hey, I see you, you see me, who's going to win, right? And there's a little bit difference than that than just hitting somebody when they don't see you.
I know you're probably not going to unleash the demons on your own quarterback, but Coach Hampton talked about the desire to improve the pass rush, only 30 sacks last year. Could you tell anything from today's scrimmage before you watched the film that you saw some elements of maybe improved pass rush?
Well, we got to the quarterback a couple times today. I think at times that's on our quarterback to make sure that they're getting out of the pocket. So it's like double-edged sword for me, right? If you get a sack, then you're excited about the defense, but upset about the offensive line or the timing that the quarterback had. But we've had good rush. We've done some different drill work this year that we haven't done in the past. I think's improved that. We have some different stuff schematically. We brought in Coach Rip and Coach T and Coach Araghi. All those guys are working really hand in hand with making sure that we got dynamic guys on the field that can impact the quarterback. But you also earn that opportunity by how you stop the run. So I'm seeing glimpses of that, through fall camp. But we'll continue to look for that to improve.
Today was the first chance to see some of these young guys in a scrimmage setting when they weren't here in spring. Manny and Jalen in particular. Just curious, kind of your thoughts of seeing them fly around in this kind of more game-like setting.
Yeah, some of it's like deer in the headlights looks at times, and then some of it's like, okay, that's why we brought them here, right? So I think it's a combination of continuing to refine it for them, figure out what they're capable of doing, and making sure we're asking them to do that. But I think there's some flashes that you really saw that we got the right guys on this team.
Mixon, I imagine, still someone you guys are counting on to maybe replace Bryce as a leader. Did you sort of see him today operate in a certain way that made you feel like he can be that guy in the middle?
Well, none of it's based on just today, right? I've seen what Jerry's done throughout fall camp. I still would love to see and hear more of Jerry's voice. I think it carries a lot of weight with the players. That being said, he stepped up in that role. He's done a good job. I don't want him to come be Bryce. I want him to be the best version of Jerry, right? I want him to be the best version of him. And again, I'll have to go back and watch the film. You can't watch 22 players at one time, but Jerry's had a good fall camp.
That's going to be a big takeaway from not just fall camp, but the first fall scrimmage on Saturday is got to go watch film. The coaches and the players, learn from it, get yourself in a game-like environment, and keep growing with the season now just about a couple weeks away, unbelievably. It's coming up When we come back, we hear more from Oregon football. It's the edge coach Kam Araghi next on Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by one of your local branches today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
With a new Toyota from Toyota's National Sales Event, you can turn your end-of-summer scaries into end-of-summer woes. Pack a picnic into a 4Runner and hit up a stunning mountain vista.
Whoa!
Haul a bouncy castle in a Tundra.
Whoa! I'm king of the castle!
Or take a BZ to an amusement park with friends. Keep your woes going this summer in a new Toyota.
Event ends August 31st. Dealer inventory may vary. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Toyota, let's go places.
You're listening to Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
My mom has taken up going to the park to practice yoga.
My dad's going to a club, but not a book club, a salsa club.
Finding new hobbies comes with age.
My mom has started getting lost and not knowing where she's going.
Becoming lost or disoriented doesn't. Confusion with time or place may be a sign of Alzheimer's. An early diagnosis can help improve the quality of life for your loved one. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Man, I love my kids so much. I once sat for 3 hours in the cold rain to watch her soccer team lose by 18 goals.
I love my kids so much, I once used a tube to suck snot out of her stuffed nose at 3 a.m.
You win.
Love your kids? Love them enough to make sure they're in the right car seat. From toddlers to tweens, visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat to find the right seat for their age and size. Keep them safe. Visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Well, one of Dan Lanning's takeaways from fall camp so far in the scrimmage on Saturday was just the ability to attack the football that this defense has displayed so far. And a lot of that is the pass rush coming off the edge. A lot of talent there, some of the nationally prominent big names, and also some new younger players that are stepping up and getting big roles. And one guy with big responsibility towards developing those players is the edge coach, Kam Araghi. He's one of the younger position coaches that you'll see, not even 30 years old. And Kam Araghi has loved what he's seen so far and happy to get his perspective after he spoke to the media this weekend.
Mateo's been one of the biggest storylines this offseason, just dropping weight, slimming down. Where have you seen that change his game the most? What is he doing this fall camp that he wasn't doing last year?
I think it's just a full commitment to his diet on and off the field. Just having the idea of I'm going to be in the best physical shape of my life to go ball out the senior year, and it's helped in every facet of his game, whether that's run game, pass rush, dropping in space, finishing on the quarterback. Everything's been so much better because of it, and I'm really proud of him.
Without much tape, I guess, to go off of, how do you identify a guy like Blue Dancler as someone you want to bring in, and what did you like about him as a prospect?
Yeah, Blue is somebody that we had our eye on in high school from Bash, Arizona, in Chandler. We actually had him at camp as well, and it was somebody that we were monitoring. And when we saw him jump in the portal, we had a spot open, and we got in contact with him, brought him up for his visit, and we loved everything about his mindset, his attitude. We kind of knew what his tape was going to be just watching his high school tape, and he's really been a fantastic addition to our program, and I'm really glad he's a Duck.
Coach, when we talk about a outside linebacker rotation, how many players would you like to have playable this year? Is there a cap on that? Could you incorporate 6 or 8, or what? Kind of just walk us through the numbers there and what you're looking for.
Yeah, I think it's going to come down to who's playing above the line football, who's playing winning football for us, who can go out and align, assign, execute, and play with relentless effort. I'd like to get as many guys involved, but we all know that I don't know how many guys are going to be available for us based off who's playing great football at the end of the camp. So we're going to see how it goes. We're really looking forward to the scrimmage tomorrow to see who's going to show up and show out. And the things I'm looking for is alignment, assignment, effort, and execution. We talk about our A's and E's in the room, and I'm really intrigued to see who shows up tomorrow so we can, as we get closer and closer to game one, who's going to be able to be in that rotation. But there's no cap on it.
You just zoom out a little bit, just the experience that coming back at your position, just how much of a luxury is that as a coach, and then also maybe a little bit of pressure to like try to find ways to still get even more out of those guys.
Yeah, I think you got to put pressure on yourself as a coach, no matter what the situation is in the room. We're at the University of Oregon. There's high expectations here, and I wouldn't want it any other way. I try to be my hardest critic. Like every single indie drill, every single meeting, I'm looking for any sort of growth I can get. You know, Rip Rowan's been a great addition to our program, and having him in meetings, having him in Indy with his NFL experience, always trying to get knowledge from him, trying to say, hey, what can we do better? And then obviously Coach Lanning being his expertise in outside linebacker play, I'm kind of relying on him even more. Like, hey, Coach, what you think about this drill? Hey, Coach, what you think about this meeting? What you think about this coaching point? So when you talk about pressure, I see it each and every day. You got to bring your best, and I want to be the best version of myself as a coach to make these players achieve their goals. So I don't care who's in the room. I'm going to put pressure on myself to make sure we're getting the best out of each and every guy.
Where is Tank fitting in so far? Coach Hamp said last week he's kind of moving around a little bit on the defensive line. I'm curious, is that where you see him right now? Is it too early in the process to kind of land him somewhere? Do you want to see where he fits better?
Yeah, I think Tank's done an unbelievable job, number one, of being a sponge. You know, letting his grow into his body and not having an ego. You know, sometimes with these edge rushers, I only want to play edge and I don't want to play inside. And Tank's like, I want to do what's best for the team and where you guys think is the best spot for me to be able to go produce. And his mentality has been fantastic. Where he fits in, I think he can fit in anywhere. He's twitchy and quick enough to be able to play on the edge, but he's also physical enough and does a great job of playing with power from the ground to the man and translating it to his hands to play inside as well. So I think he's done an amazing job of giving himself the position versatility to play across the whole D-line, which is going to give him an opportunity to crack the rotation.
Yeah, back to Blue. He obviously had a really nice spring game, and he flashed with those sacks. But what are some of his traits that really stand out to you in practice?
Yeah, Blue's going to bring it every single day. The young man cares. And when we talk about what we're looking for in our room, it's somebody who's going to show up every single day, play relentless, and then want to know all the details. And he does a great job of that. He has a phenomenal get-off in his pass rush, and even with his stature not being the biggest guy, he's strong. He does a really good job of striking and being powerful in the C-gap and being able to win and versus base blocks, reach blocks, playing a 6 technique. And I'm really excited about Blue, and I'm looking forward for him to bring more consistency each day. So that's what I'm challenging him with, and what I love about Blue, he accepts the challenge.
What do you just make of Nas's offseason and just the impact of the physical improvements that he's had and how it's translating onto the football field?
Yeah, I think Nas is it's an amazing story with how far that young man has come. I cannot begin to tell you guys how proud I am of Nazir Wyatt. And it's a kudos to everybody in his circle, to his parents, to our whole entire sports staff. I mean, guys, it takes a village to pour into these guys. Starting with our strength staff with Wilson Love, Drew Jordan, Kyle Bolton, all the way to Jesse Dark in nutrition, our whole support staff at the front. Like, we have so many guys that go unnoticed in our front coaching staff. We talk about Coach Tiote, obviously, Tavis Tiote, Jaime Silva, Adam Barraza, Chase Jones, Jamari Jenkins, Tanner Benson, and so many more that I'm probably forgetting right now. But it's been really, really great to see how much of a sponge he's been. And having Mateo and Tatum back for their senior year has been a huge plus, because the opportunities when I'm on the road, he's stealing ops to go work with these guys and take any ounce of information he can get from them. And guys, it's been a complete 180, and I'm really, really excited about Nas, and he's done everything in his power to put himself in position to be the best version of him.
Yeah, just kind of following up on Nas, you mentioned all of that, the body transformation. Does that allow him to play multiple spots for you? Can he play even on the inside, maybe at inside linebacker? Like, what's kind of the role that he could assume with the variety of things he can do?
Without getting into too much detail, Nas is a Swiss Army knife. And I think the biggest thing he's done is he's really enhanced his football intelligence. He's wanting to know the ins and outs of every single defense. What's the strength? What's the stressor of each call? Where can I take my shot and pass rush? When can I not? When do I got to really be conscious of level rushing? And that's helped his game go to the next level. And in result, he's making more havoc plays and having more havoc. And it's a product of the work that he's put in.
Mateo slimming down and, hoping to get back, I guess, to the level production he was at 2 years ago. I'm wondering what you've seen from him in camp and what has really stood out about that.
Talk about Mateo and Tatum in particular, kind of grouping this together. These seniors that come back and when they had an opportunity to go pro and would have gone drafted and been in an NFL training camp right now and fighting for a spot, They didn't come in and dip their toe into water for their senior year. They've been completely all in, and the relentlessness they take each and every rep with, and sometimes I be trying to take off of them, and they get mad at me. Like, Cam, like, put us back in. Let me go get this extra 2 minute. Let me go get this extra rep of 6-tech, 9-tech drill. Just striving for greatness, and that's ultimately a mentality. And I cannot begin to tell you guys how much I love those two, and I don't take it for granted each day. You know, Coach Aubrey Pleasant has been a great addition to our staff, and he kind of grabbed me today, and we're talking about it. You know, the opportunity to coach these two seniors, and knowing the relationship I've had with Tatum, and seeing Mateo be recruited here, and being a part of his journey from day one here. He's like, man, take a step back and enjoy these moments, you know. And sometimes we get caught up in the moment of trying to push, but when that guy makes a play in 2 minutes, and Tatum does an unbelievable job striking a block and shedding off it and making a TFL, like, enjoy them. They've just been all in is probably the best way to put it.
Last week, Coach Hamps mentioned Dutch as someone who was kind of standing out early on. I'm just curious what you've seen from him so far in this camp.
He's relentless. That young man will not be denied. I was telling Coach Lanning this morning, I get here in the mornings, if he doesn't beat me there, I'm in there waiting for him. And he's like, oh, you beat me today. I mean, he's calling me at 9:30 at night when meetings are over. Hey, can I come back up? Dutch is a guy I'm telling, no, you got to go home and get your sleep. He wants to know every detail, wants to be able to get any sort of edge so he can find a way on the field. And the guy just finds a way. He plays his butt off each and every day. And I'm really excited for Dutch. We got a room full of great young men, and I think it's infectious. You know, Mateo was saying it last night. Here's a great example of it. On our recovery day, Dutch bought the whole front ice cream to celebrate, right? So we're sitting in the room, and, you know, I'm sitting in the back with Mateo, and he's like, you know, Cam, like, we got a bunch of great humans. You know, guys that want to accept their role and want to be a part of this thing, however which way they can, to help the team go have success. And that's what you ask for in a group, and that's what makes my job so much more enjoyable day in and day out, and makes me even want to push harder to help these guys go achieve their goals.
A lot of your players, other players on the defense, Hampton, Lanning, they've all acknowledged the importance of improving the havoc rate, the sacks, the tackles for loss from where it was last season. What gives you confidence that this group can do that? What are you seeing that gives you that confidence?
Watching them do it day in and day out in practice. That's ultimately what's going to be. What shows up in practice is what's going to show up on game day. We can't pretend like if it doesn't happen in practice, all of a sudden you're going to turn on Saturdays. I don't believe in gamers. And these guys are hungry, wanting to know, study the best guys in the country, the guys that got drafted in the first round, of guys that had havoc rate over 20% is what our goal is in our defensive program. And they want it, and they're going to go hunt it. And we're going to make sure that we push them, and we're going to acknowledge it day in and day out. We track havoc rate, and like I said, our goal is to be 20%. And when we're doing it in practice, I'm confident it's going to show up on Saturdays.
Number 2 in the AP preseason football poll, Oregon football, and a lot of reason for that is that the defense. Kam Araghi, the edge coach, breaking down what should be an electric defense this year in Eugene. When we come back, we stay on the subject of defense, hearing from Blue Dancler next on Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by one of your local branches today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Winning doesn't happen by accident. It takes a playbook, one that works when the pressure's on. For 35 years, Morgan & Morgan has been that playbook for the injured, recovering more than $35 billion for our clients. This season, we're proud to partner with Oregon Athletics, because in football and in the courtroom, the right playbook gets results. Morgan & Morgan, proud partner of Oregon Athletics. Injured? Dial #law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you. 10150 Southwest 6th Avenue, Portland. Prior results do not guarantee a similar outcome.
Back to the Country Financial Studios in 60 seconds. This is Duck Insider from Learfield.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
When you're high, you feel different. You think different, you talk different, you draw different, you listen to music different, but you probably knew that. Problem is, you also drive different, and not in a good way. That's why driving high is illegal everywhere. So if you're high, just don't drive. Make a plan to get a sober ride. Because if you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Continuing our recap of the first fall scrimmage for Oregon football from Saturday, but some big news came out here today. Well, it's not that big of news, let's be honest, but it's watch list season. Dante Moore on the Walter Camp Player of the Year watch list. That's basically another Heisman. It's given to the top player in the country. Some big names, the last four winners: Fernando Mendoza, Travis Hunter, Jaden Daniels, and Caleb Williams. That's pretty good company. Hoping for a big year for Dante Moore as his preseason accolades and watch lists continue to roll in. And for the team, I guess this is an accolade? I don't know. AP preseason football poll, Oregon is number 2, one of 8 Big Ten teams in the top 25. Ohio State number 1, Ducks number 2, setting up for an interesting matchup November 7th. Circle that one on your calendar. Obviously, you got it. Blah, 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 game to game, don't look ahead. That one's going to be crazy, though, if things work out the way it's supposed to with the preseason rankings. A new Duck this year that should help the Oregon have depth defensively is a transfer from Corvallis. Blue Dancler from Oregon State, where he played a game last year, transferring over to Oregon. And we heard this weekend from Blue Dancler after the scrimmage.
Not a far trip down the road, but definitely a big decision coming from Oregon State to hear what kind of went into that decision and what's it been like now that you've been here?
Yeah, I entered the portal when Coach Shep and the rest of their staff got there. Really just took a bet on myself. Entered the portal. Coach Cam was one of the first guys to hit me up, and I thought it was a no-brainer, kind of off the rip. I mean, like Oregon. And it was kind of late in the transfer portal window, so I didn't want to be one of those guys who were stuck in it late. So, he hit me up. He's an Arizona guy, just like me, and it was kind of an easy one. From there, it was really no other teams that was in the process.
What's the last few months been like for you since then? Obviously, a tough season in Corvallis, coaching change, uncertainty after just 1 year in college football. How would you describe the, roller coaster of emotions?
You mean in terms of like getting here?
The whole process, from your freshman year up through now.
Yeah, it's definitely been a grind. At Oregon State, it was like you said, a roller coaster of emotions. There was a lot of stuff that we went through over there. But all in all, we fought. Me and Coach Shep and the new staff. It was exciting to meet them and see what they were gonna do to turn around the problem, but. Like I said, it just kind of wasn't a fit for me there. And then, I got up here and, it was a grind from there to be held to a different standard, just to really rep Oregon and learn what this school is all about. That's been fun too.
You kind of just answered what I was going to ask, what these months have been like in Eugene and working out with this team, but specifically, having guys like Mateo and Tatum and just the people in your position group, just what has that experience been like and what have you learned from them?
It's been incredible. Tatum is a guy who's going to show up and work his butt off every single day. So is Mateo. Even the young guys in the room that we got, they show up to work every day and they work, And since I've been here, it's kind of just rubbed off on me. We all kind of got our own shade in the way we play the game. And it's been really cool, like learning everything, like taking pieces from everybody in the room and trying to add to my game as well.
How much contact did you have with Oregon coming out of high school? Was this a school that you were being recruited by, or was it in the portal kind of reputation of knowing what Oregon's all about? What interests you?
Mm-hmm. Like I said, Cam is an Arizona guy. There was definitely conversations kind of held in high school with him. Nothing major ever broke out. I came out here for a camp, was out of position. I was playing inside linebacker when I came up here. Didn't have the best camp, to say the least, being an edge out of high school. But, you know, he was one of those guys that kind of kept an eye on me, and I'm just glad it panned through.
I was going to ask you about the spring and just kind of what your first impressions were of this group, and then maybe the spring game, what kind of confidence that gave you, because I think you had a pretty good day there.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. No, like winter, spring, it was all, I won't say it was tough because, you know, I love being here, but, you know, it was a learning process, to say the least. There was a lot of mistakes on my part that were made, you know, just trying to get a daily schedule, daily habits, you know, kind of trying to learn this system. And then, you know, spring game came around. The call sheet kind of shortened up for us a little bit, and I was able to just go out there and play. And like you said, I think I did a good job. And I think that gave me a lot of confidence going into the summer window and up until, you know, fall camp.
You mentioned a major thing about habits, right? Last year at Oregon State, there was a lot of turnover, a lot of voices, a lot of hands-on how you guys should be doing things. Coming here to Oregon, were there any, I wouldn't say bad habits or any tendencies from Oregon State that you had to shake when you made your adjustment here at Oregon?
Not at all. I think in that aspect, it was easier for me to catch on to things and not really have anything to shake on. Or shake off. Like, I hold myself to a high standard, so I think coming here and having coaches that were going to hold me to that high of a standard as well was a perfect match.
What do you think your game has improved the most since getting here?
I would definitely say, you know, kind of working in space, being a true outside linebacker, you know, coverage downs, dropping back. That's something I kind of did at Oregon State. I started to do at Oregon State a little bit. In high school, didn't do much of that, but, you know, in terms of that aspect, I think that's what's gotten the best for me.
I actually covered the spring game for Oregon State last year, and they were talking about you having 4 or 5 sacks in that game, a couple sacks in the Oregon spring game this year. Is there something about that particular, you know, opportunity to finally get out there in the stadium that you've taken advantage of?
Yeah, no, for sure. It's definitely special to be out there. I mean, last year was my first year in college, so that was really exciting for me to just go out there and show them what I could do. My true goal has been to just get on the field and like help the team in any way I can, and I feel like I have a natural pass rush ability. So when I'm given that chance, especially with the play call menu shortened down, I feel like I have to take advantage of it, and I feel like that's when I get some of those good looks.
You mentioned you were out of position at the Oregon camp playing linebacker. What was that a transition that you made in high school, going from linebacker to edge, or was that just a one-off, or I guess just more importantly, like moving to the outside, what made that more successful for you?
Mm-hmm. So in high school, I was really just a 5-tech, you know, 3-point stance defensive end. When I came up here for this camp, they kind of wanted to see me as an inside linebacker role. You know, I wasn't the tallest. I was kind of short-stocked. So I didn't really just have much experience in that field. And then once I got to Oregon State, it was kind of, okay, now I can drop into coverage a little bit. Now I'm not necessarily a 4-down DN, but I'm not an inside linebacker. I'm kind of that hybrid outside linebacker that I can, you know, tie in both of those aspects of my game.
You mentioned a moment ago feeling, I guess, comfortable as a pass rusher. Is maybe some of the next growth in terms of being able to set the edge on my downs, or kind of what are some of your goals to kind of build that from here?
Yeah, for sure. I think, you know, being a shorter outside linebacker, you know, edge, I think it is a priority for me to be able to set hard edges, you know, because I don't have the length to really cover as much ground. But yeah, like you said, I think that's an aspect that can always get better. You know, I'm young, so really just trying to, even in pass rush, just trying to improve my game in every way I can. But the run game is definitely something that I have a heavier focus on, as well as, like, you know, coverage aspects as well.
I'm sure when you committed here, you had expectations of what it was like to be in this program. I'm curious, since you've been here, what's lived up to those expectations, and more importantly, what's maybe been a little bit different than what you're expecting?
Yeah, nah, it's they've lived up to my expectations 100%. You know, going back to like middle school days, like this was my dream school. It's just to be here. I mean, they've met every expectation. I mean, we got the new stadium or new indoor field being built right now, so we're in the secondary weight room. But I mean, it's crazy that they even have secondary weight rooms. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's a blessing to be here. So to answer your question, I think every expectation has been met for sure.
Blue Dancler, new duck, part of the Oregon defense that is loaded with talent and depth as they continue to get that experience and depth and build it up over the course of fall camp. We stay on the subject of defense when we come back. Trey McNut talking to the media this past weekend on Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
At Shadow Hills, we're more than just a country club. We're where family, fun, and connection come together. Enjoy our award-winning course, vibrant year-round events, and the warm camaraderie of fellow members. Our all-inclusive event spaces offer both indoor and outdoor settings, perfect for weddings, business events, holiday parties, and more. Whether you're in search of championship golf, lively social gatherings, or simply a welcoming community to call home, Shadow Hills is the place where you belong.
Hey Duck fans, at Country Financial, they make insurance easy. Whether you're shopping for home, auto, or more, their representatives will take the time to understand your specific needs and explain what options work best for you. Worry less and feel more confident knowing you're covered. Visit countryfinancial.com to get started today. Experience more with Country Financial. Auto and home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Preferred Insurance Company, and Country Casualty Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois.
This is Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
I'm Chris Jakimick. I served in the United States Air Force, and I deployed 3 times. Being a veteran, it's interwoven into your DNA. It's really the absence of the connection and the purpose that can really drive a lot of veterans to some negative thoughts. For those who are in a suicidal crisis, the window of time to save somebody's life is very short. Our duty is to protect ourselves and protect our families. And one way you can do that is store your weapons safely. Store all your guns securely. Help stop suicide.
Brought to you by End Family Fire and the Ad Council.
This message is for Karina, our mom who finished her high school diploma at age 28. Hi, Mom. It's Emmettith and Nicholas.
Congratulations on getting your diploma.
You worked so hard and have taught us so much. We love you.
When you graduate, they graduate. Finish your high school diploma for you and for them. Visit finishyourdiploma.org to find free and supportive adult education centers near you. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Every year there's a new name, a new player that breaks out and maybe catches people off guard, surprises people. And maybe even the word surprise is not the correct word in this situation. We're talking about Trey McNut, part of the Oregon secondary. He's a former 5-star recruit, but he's a guy who was hurt last year, was forced to redshirt. But he's not a name to forget. He's got a ton of talent, and he could be a big impact player this year for this Oregon defense. Trey McNut caught up with the media on Friday.
Obviously some high expectations for you going into last year, and then it got derailed by the injury. What was that experience like? What did you kind of learn from that experience of watching instead of being able to play out there?
Yeah, that experience I didn't expect it, of course. Came out of nowhere, but I learned a lot last year just being able to sit on the sideline and just learn from the guys that was in there, the elite players like Dylan Thieneman and just those guys. That last season was interesting, sitting on the sideline and be able to listen.
How would you describe the emotions of navigating the lows? Because obviously that's a long process to get back.
Yeah, I would say, right after I broke my leg, right after I broke it, I was down, but right away I snapped back. I got God on my side, so he got me out of it, and I was strong through it. It was a long recovery, but, I was happy every single day.
Trey, once you moved past the injury, what was the focal point of this offseason? Where did you think you grew, and kind of how would you assess your success in those goals?
Yeah, I would say after the injury, I was just focused on my mental, focused on mentally, getting strong and learning the plays and learning the defense, schemes of offenses and stuff like that. So, going into this year, just a lot of mental reps and now being able to put it to the field has been good.
Yeah, I know obviously your first fall camp got cut short, but how has this fall camp now been for you? Second year, probably playbook more familiar, but how has it kind of been different in this fall camp?
Yeah, I would say last year got cut short, but this year is definitely easier. Like I said, I got mental reps last year, and being able to put it to the field and really get those true reps on the field, it's been good. I've been able to play faster and just really be able to put it to the field and make good take.
Trey, can you describe how you broke your leg, and then also what was that recovery process like? When did you get back on the field? When did you get back to 100%?
Yeah, I was making a play in the back of the end zone. I dove for the ball and ran into another teammate, and it broke. It was, like I said, it was a long recovery, and I ended up coming back to practice later in the season when we was in playoffs. But it was a long time.
Your class of freshmen, or the freshmen last year, were pretty historic at Oregon. I mean, with what they were able to do last year, was part of that. I imagine it was frustrating to watch them do that and know that you had a chance to do that but got injured. But was part of that encouraging too, to just kind of know what you could do with this class going forward?
Yeah, I mean, coming in with this class, it was a great opportunity, and it was amazing. Also, being able to just cheer on my teammates last year. I got great experience being able to do that. I was happy for them, and to be able to do it this year with them, it means a lot. So really taking advantage of the opportunity.
With the veteran guys in the secondary, thinking about guys like Dylan and now Coy, what have you tried to absorb from those guys, as you finally work your way back onto the field?
Yeah, learning from Dylan, he was just always taking a lot of notes, always in the facility, and just learning how he did his routine, his fall camp, and stuff like that. Learning the little details really is what I've taken out of it, being around these older guys.
Yeah, I think we've heard that both you and Brandon do a lot of work outside the facility together, get extra work and that kind of thing. What's it like working with him in the back end and getting that extra work in?
Yeah, Brandon and a lot of the other guys, we all work out with each other outside of the facility, get extra time after practice, and really just seeing how we all grow together off the field and on the field is the best part about it. Just learning the little things about football, the little techniques. We all are becoming little technicians with our craft.
Right, you mentioned part of your process of overcoming your injury was getting your mental back right. What is that process like, right? Not allowing that injury to constantly creep back up on you in certain moments. What is that like for you? How do you get over that?
Yeah, it's been pretty easy. I feel like being able to come back and play on it again. I've got confidence in my leg. I feel like it doesn't hinder me in any type of way. So being able to come back on the field, just having confidence and knowing that I was healed by grace and back on the field is the biggest part about it.
Coach Lanning and Coach Hamp have talked about position versatility a lot and kind of moving players around to find what spots they're good at. How much are you doing that this offseason, and kind of where have you found your fit so far?
Yeah, I mean, really wherever the coaches see me best at, whether it's special teams, safety, dime, anywhere, wherever I could fit out on the field and put it best on the field.
The common phrase, right? Iron sharpens iron. Just talk a little bit about the receiving core on this team and how they kind of help elevate the secondary on this squad.
Yeah, I mean, it's been great being able to work with, guys like Iverson, guys like Evan Stewart, Decorian Moore, being able to work with them on the field, really sharp. We've been sharpening each other every single day. Really being able to just, we expose each other, on the field. So, going back to the meeting rooms, we always, talk about it after the practices, get to work with each other and, release work or whatever it is. We sharpen each other for sure.
Just quick follow-up to that question. Who's that one person that really pushes you, that you have that constant battle, that you guys came in the offseason and said, hey, we're going to grind, we're going to get it this year? Who's that guy?
Yeah, I mean, whether it's defense or offense, I've told, Brandon, I've told, or guys like Evan and Decorian, I've told them all, man, we need to work this offseason. We need to, be in the lab together because, once this season, it's serious. So really just, taking advantage of the time that we got before the season comes and, learning our craft and, mastering these little details. Because like you said, iron sharpens iron. We got the best here. So, taking advantage of it.
Yeah, taking advantage. Why not? A team that surrounded by talent with your teammates, with the coaching staff, taking full advantage of his opportunities. Could be, among others, breakout season for a guy like Trey McNut, a highly touted recruit and a very talented player in his own right. Wrap up the show when we come back. Let's talk about soccer and their dominant victory yesterday in front of a great crowd on Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by one of your local branches today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
We know you turn to the Duck Store for all your game day needs. And for students at the University of Oregon, it's even more. Class supplies, jobs, a seat on our board, a place to take a quick coffee break. Because we're your student-first, non-profit college store, every purchase you make directly supports the very community we serve. From working in our counters to studying in the classroom, from directing our stores to cheering in the stands, the people we serve, the students, are the very people who are the Duck Store.
More Duck Insider coming up on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
When your car is making a strange noise, no matter what it is, you can't just pretend it's not happening.
That's an interesting sound.
It's like your mental health. If you're struggling and feeling overwhelmed, it's important to do something about it. It can be as simple as talking to someone or just taking a deep, calming breath to ground yourself. Because once you start to address the problem, you can go so much further. The Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council have resources available for you at loveyourmindtoday.org.
There's danger out there. It lurks on highways and quiet neighborhood streets. It's more likely to kill you than a shark and more terrifying than the biggest snake. Distracted driving claims lives every day. Every notification, swipe, social post, video, or selfie while driving risks your life. So while you might think public speaking or the zombie apocalypse is scary, what's really terrifying and even deadly is distracted driving. Eyes forward, don't drive distracted. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
How about Oregon soccer? Back on Duck Insider, I'm Chris Clayton here with Joey Mack as well. Oregon soccer is 2-0, off to an absolutely dominant start. A 3-0 victory over Gonzaga yesterday. And, Joey, it was a fantastic crowd. How cool was that to see the community come out to support Tracy Joyner and this Oregon team?
Well, I think early in the season, it's great to see, especially after a team that look, frankly, wanted to play better last year. Had so many opportunities around the net that just didn't go in, and that's the way soccer is, right? And I really felt, though, that team so many times last year was on the precipice, right? Like a lot of draws that could have turned to wins. And now here we are early in this season, and the Ducks are finishing around the net and continuing to play that great defense. Like there were a lot of low-scoring matches last year, right? The defense was usually real good for this team. And the Big Ten, it doesn't get any easier here down the stretch. But you mentioned something I think was interesting, Chris, like beating Portland State, beating Gonzaga, right? Like winning these regional matchups out of conference at the start of the season, I think that goes a long way for Tracy Joyner as she continues to build this program.
And this is an Oregon team that last year scored 15 goals the whole season, to your point.
Right.
Defensively, they were middle pack of the Big Ten, did a really good job of holding teams from scoring, but the issue was trying to score. And so
four of those goals last year, Chris, were in one early season game.
Yes.
So you think about after the month of August, it was 10 goals, I think, scored. It was a good start.
And it's the returners, but it's also some of the newcomers. Carly Cormack, a returner, has just been terrific. 2 goals, 2 assists. She had another assist against Gonzaga. The goals against the Zags yesterday, Lauren Hunter, Shiloh Baird, and Abella Hunter. Good to see Abella Hunter get a goal. She had some goals at UC Davis previously, 4 of them, but no goals and 3 assists last year. Awesome to see her find the back of the net. And Shiloh Baird, I mean, how about the the start to her career, a goal in each of her first 2 matches. For some players, there's an adjustment period to college soccer, but Shiloh Baird has fit right in. I mean, that was a player talking to Tracy Joyner before the season opened, and she said, hey, I think Shiloh Baird's going to be really good. She can really help us facing the goal, confident with the ball at her feet, and she has done that. She has been spectacular. She can change the attack single-handedly.
Well, and to that point, I think, too, investing in the youth, right, of this team to an extent. Like, there are some new faces, as you just alluded to, and the one that scores the goals in Baird's going to get the headlines. And now the question is, does that hold true moving forward, I think, right? Like, and that, I'm really excited to talk to Tracy Joyner this week on the show. She'll be on the show every Wednesday is the plan, and I just think an exciting start to the season. And it puts a smile on your face. You mentioned the crowd. Like, the inflatables were set up. You know, kids were in the bounce house. It's great.
What an environment. And hopefully it stays that way, right?
Yeah.
Keep going out to Pape Field. They have a road game coming up Thursday, 7:30 p.m. at Santa Clara. By the way, some track and field news as well announced today. Hayward Field will host the 2028 Olympic Trials.
That's right.
No surprise, but it's cool, right? Right on our doorstep, right down the road, the Olympic Trials, the 6th consecutive trials held in Eugene at the state-of-the-art Hayward Field.
And then just a few weeks after that, don't have to go that far because the Olympics are in Los Angeles.
Right down the road. That 2028, that's going to be incredible.
Big year.
Elsewhere in Duck sports, volleyball, you alluded to it earlier, Joey, with the green-yellow scrimmage this past weekend. And, I mean, I could say game week, but it is an exhibition. Exhibition game for Oregon volleyball coming up on Friday against Utah. Really cool opportunity for fans. Free admission to that one, and expectations are high for Trent Kirsten in his second season. 8 players back from last year.
Top 25 team.
Yep.
Preseason. Big Ten's tough. Utah's not bad.
Yeah.
Utah's pretty good. This is a good exhibition test for Trent Kirsten's team. Noon on Friday. Leave work for a long lunch. Maybe you don't go home. Or don't go back to work, I should say. Just go home.
Yes. Perfect. Well, that's what the week ahead looks like. We have plenty of coverage of Oregon sports ahead. For Joey Mack, I'm Chris Clayton. This is Duck Insider. Let's have a great week.
What a Monday.
Yes.
What a Monday.
Let's go. Only up from here, too.
This is great.
The Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
We asked parents who adopted teens to share their journey.
If you build a relationship, then it becomes easier. If you build trust, it becomes easier. As a parent, you want what's best for your child. To give them the love that a child needs is probably the best you can do for a teenager.
Learn about adopting